Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. I am so elevated at this moment. I am so thrilled to share with you our guest today. We have with us Maya Tiwari. She is a spiritual pioneer who serves humanity by awakening the spirit of ahimsa or harmony in every person whose life she touches. For 35 years, she has put this ability to inspire and create change in human behavior and understanding to work through education, outreach, and service to humankind. Maya established the Wise Earth School of Ayurveda in 1981, the first school for Ayurveda education in North America. In addition to the Wise Earth School, Maya is also the founder of both the Mother Om mission that serves at-risk communities, affectionately called the Mother Maya. She is a champion for women's empowerment, recognized on the worldwide platform for her tireless commitment to inspiring health, wholeness, and peace. For her pioneering work in Ayurveda education, Maya has received numerous awards. She has appeared alongside the Dalai Lama and many other luminaries. She is honored with the distinction of World Peace Leader by the Parliament of World's Religions. Maya is the author of many books on women's health, wellness, and spirituality. Her most recent title, I Am Shakti, Reclaiming Women's innate power to heal themselves and restore balance, health, prosperity, and joy for all being. Oh, welcome, Maya.
Thank you, Paula. That was so sweet of you.
Oh,
And I'm so happy to engage your audience as well. It's a pleasure really to be with you.
Thank you so much. And I'm just honored. And you have done so much for so many, and your sharing and wisdom. Oh, I'm excited to chat with you. First off, what led you? Do you want to share a little more background on what led you to Ayurveda and natural healing? How did that?
Yes, and that's such a huge story, but we'll make it short because we'd like to get to the content of I'm Shakti and what can really help women in this very troubled time that we are all facing with multitude of wars and disease and despair and at the same time we've got this frequency rising in our natural environment, and we need to be able to know how to access that and not get overwhelmed by the disparity and degeneration of things that we are facing in the news and around us. I had ovarian cancer at a very early age, at the height of another career. At 18, 19, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And then I survived it, which was fortunate. It led me to a change of life, a change of career, a change of understanding. I came from a Hindu background, a very stoic a priest class, as we say, the Brahmins. And even though I was brought up with the British in Guyana, South America, what transpired was a transmission from my father, who was still alive at that time, and really redirected me back to the path of the ancestors. And so after surviving ovarian cancer, I was about 22 years old at that time. I returned for the first time in my family to India, the motherland, and began my studies in holistic medicine in Ayurveda, but also in Vedanta, which is the end portion of the Vedas, in Sanskrit, in yoga, and all of the colluding works of Vedas. But basically, Ayurveda I chose because I understood so many things during my own despair in the 5 years odyssey of cancer, chemotherapy, radiation, many surgeries, etc., etc. I was given 6 months to live, and then I left the hospital and went into seclusion and survived. And I always understood that redemption was from the goddess mother. The way that I look at it, it was from the divine source. There was no other reason why people survive what we survive when the prognosis is so bleak. However, it goes to show that we have and have always had the innate power to heal ourselves. It goes to show that we've been tamped down by so much of the chemical, pharmaceutical, and other belief systems that have just tamped down our basic intelligence. And at whatever point this message reaches us, it's here to serve as a reminder that we can wake up, that we can awaken an energy that is already within us. It's just asleep. It's not gone. It's not destroyed, because it can never be destroyed. But I think that if we look at all the challenges around us in our own personal families and in the world, in our communities, which have become so fragmentized, then we understand that when we are being given such difficult tests, and they are tests of the human spirit, we have to know that there is a deeper faith, in, even if we don't believe in a religion, but a deeper part of us that has an instinct and impetus to make it through all these abysses and dark corridors and whatever. And that if we just keep the breath moving with the mind and hope in front of it all, then we can get through these difficult times. I found that out during cancer. I was very young. There is nothing that I did that gave me back my life. But there was the inspiration of the goddess. There was the inspiration of all that I wasn't even aware of in my own cellular memory and tissue that was being struck down. But I saw so many things and experienced just so much light that I understood when I woke up from cancer that there is a path that I must travel. And it took me to Ayurveda. Ayurveda simply means living a life that is in a state of balance. Balance with our nature, balance with our metabolism, balance with the nature outside of us, and the bigger nature that's inside of us. And it is true that we can turn this around. We cannot depend on what's been serving us for the last many centuries to heal. It will not heal us. We are the healers. I am not your healer. You are your own healer. But we can influence each other. We can inspire each other. We can hold each other somewhat accountable to our own desire to change, or desire to come alive, or desire to bring back what's inside of us and use our own inner resource. Ayurveda simply teaches us, and in the 30 years I've been training practitioners all over the world in this modality, it teaches us to trust our own innate instinct, our own inner medicine, because it's not that we receive it all from Mother Nature, it's that it's all intact within us. And as we open it, it's like a blossoming of a lotus. Every time we open one part of us that can heal us, and it is that simple, but we've missed it because we've been badly trained in our cultures, all over the world.
Oh my gosh, yes. So what would you say could be some of the first steps in awakening and opening up to that inner healing that we are capable of?
To understand that we've been chasing it outside of ourselves. We have 100 million therapies. We have 1,000 practices we can do. We have things we are stuck on. We get addicted to all this crazy sequel of the Epstein this and the whatever, and it is all really the abyss. That is true. We are facing the abyss, but we don't want to be led, and we don't want to be captured by that. We cannot afford to give our minds attention to that when we have family members that need help, when we have our own healing to care for. So we can look at it and we can analyze it, not come to any major conclusion, just let it unfold, but don't become addicted to it, because basically that is how our time is wasted. That is how it is put upon. That is how we are brainwashed. That it's the whole system. And you don't need to understand the system. I did because of my own life, and I had to understand it. Traveling as I do, living in raw environments for the most part of all of my life. I didn't choose an easy path, but I don't think any of us did. And by the way, ladies, we all signed up for coming here on earth at this time, whether or not you believe that in this lifetime you have many more to figure it out. We did sign up for this. I have always known that my path was to serve. Although when I was much younger and I came to New York and then became a very, very well-known fashion designer very quickly in my teens, um, I was after the celebrity status and the big whatever that America can give us all. I came from a village of 500 people to Greenwich Village in Manhattan to study it, and I was too young to study law, which was what I was going toward, and then ended up being a fashion designer. But what I'm saying is, do not be distracted by the spectacular mess we are living in. We can use this opportunity to get a finer note on who we are, how we are constructed, how we are built, what we are made of, and we are made of steel, ladies. I can assure you, we're made of steel with hearts as soft as gum, but the fact is that that's who we are, and that is what the Shakti is. It is the power to not only the divine feminine energy which protects the world. We gave birth to the entire humanity, you do know that. And basically, that power is not just about procreation. It is about sustenance, it's about nourishment, it's about forgiveness, it's about love, it's about unconditional love, it's about everything that protects us. And we're not in a war to fight over being a feminist over and have the over the power over men. We give birth to men. So basically, what we need to understand is we are here to sustain and nourish everything. We cannot bring back a state of balance in our world, in our home, in our lives, unless we can balance both energies, the primordial feminine, the primordial masculine. And we as women have the awakened state of the Shakti, the primordial feminine. Men have the awakened state of the primordial masculine. And they too have been emasculated. I mean, that word came masculine, emasculated. It's basically it's a no-win show at any end. So it's not women versus men. It's women with nature, women understanding our nature, women protecting our nature, women taking the staff as a warrior when we need to be, not to battle and hurt anyone, but to protect that which is our innate wisdom. It doesn't matter which tradition we came from, we are forged in the fire of the Shakti, that primordial force. And no matter how tame we have become, we can untame ourselves by understanding we have that power and we want it to rise. And we want our resonance and frequency to rise. And the only thing that can dampen our frequency and resonance is to become entrapped in a system that controls. And it is also to let our mind go helter-skelter with all sorts of negative thoughts, all sorts of defeating thoughts, all sorts of defeating ideology. We cannot afford that because it dampens spirit.
So when we, to my energy sisters and brothers, when we want to balance that feminine and masculine, what would be some of the first steps to bring that out? And
within our own self and family, we start there. We always start in the home. We start with our sons, we start with our spouses, we start with our brothers, we start with if your father is still alive at my age, parents are, my mother, I just lost her last year, which was interesting because we're almost the same age. Anyway, it's, yes, we start at home and I Am Shakti tells us many things. It gives us the root of the pathology. And why must we learn the root of it? Because the balm alone, all of the wonderful New Age balm that we get, is not going to help us with anything at all, other than probably looking better. Here is the deal. We have to understand who we are as women. We have to understand as women and men. We have to understand the precious gifts that we've been given in consciousness and awareness. And we have to understand how we got defeated, how it got taken, how it got ripped off, and why we are now sitting in a universal time that we can reclaim it. The entire universe is behind us. We have major motherships coming into the sky that's defending us. We have the power and the time to take it back, and that time is now.
Oh, and that is such a wonderful message. That is such a wonderful message that we have that ability now.
Yes, and we can't measure it by how we have felt in the last decade and all the miserable things that have happened in our lives and all this stuff that continues to pull us apart. Our hearts are being wrenched open by all of it. And when the heart is wrenched open, we are vulnerable, yes. But something else happens. The sacred steps in. It's never when the heart is closed and fulfilled and we're comfortable living in a wonderful polished life with our Mercedes and our Nike shoes. No, the fact is that it is when we are torn asunder that the sacred steps in, and that's your sacred. It steps in. It steps in to show the way. It steps in to eliminate the dross from our lives. It steps in ways that things clear. People that shouldn't be there are no longer there. People that have betrayed are just all of a sudden gone. It clears it out because we don't have sometimes the forethought, or the prescient knowledge to clear all this dross out of our lives. So look at it this way. It hurts when we lose things and people, but oftentimes the universe is way more intelligent than we give it credit for, and therefore it is that universal intelligence that's working within us. And somewhere within us, we want that to happen, but we don't have the courage to do so. So it gets taken and we get put apart. I have no doubt, cancer was not my only major crossing. I'd been targeted for many years. It's taken its toll. The fact is, I always keep my anchor, and the anchor is this, and we must know what our anchors are as women in particular. Mine is I signed up to serve humanity. That's it, clean and simple. And if the challenge is being assaulted by these idiots, and if it is to be totally, completely consumed by people, say, those who are just professional haters, then that's fine. It is never going to affect my path because that is your anchor. You see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
And sometimes I get overwhelmed and angry too, but I understand that I am paying the price with my frequency when I allow the anger to really fester.
Mm-hmm.
I have every right to be angry. Don't get me wrong. Law enforcement is just not happening when you're being targeted because the big boys and big girls have their own society going on. And so basically, yes, anger is there. And we have every right to be angry. We have every right to say, I am going to take my warrior self and stand up. I am now Archangel Michael. I'm Durga, the warrior goddess. I have a flaming sword. And it's wonderful imagery for us when things get really, really. In fact, I advise you to get a beautiful wand made of selenium. They're not that expensive anymore. You can find them online and just use it like Michael's sword, just cut all the stuff that's flying around your mind, the thoughts, that is, and get back to a state of balance, whatever it takes, a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, something wonderful, a good lunch outside at a noble place, a walk in the park, whatever it takes to find that you're always going to be well, you're always going to be fine. We just don't want to pay from the resource of who we are for somebody else's misdeed.
Yeah. So would you say when we take those moments to find our place of peace, that and letting go of what's anchoring us, that is going to actually recharge us?
It recharges because those moments of happiness come when we allow them to come, when the situation and circumstance is correct. You know, it was so interesting because in the family had been so healthy and everyone professional and, very intelligent group of people. And then in the last 7 years, the targeting for me started about 15 years ago in the mountains of North Carolina, but it was way bigger than the mountains of North Carolina. What I noticed was because my energy was drawn towards that battle, and it did become a battle, that all of a sudden my family members started losing a bit of grip. The illness came, or, mother went into a state of feeling very sorry for herself in her last years. And it was never like that. She was the strength and the pillar and the absolute glory of the family. But you notice that what is happening to you when you are part of the centrifugal force of a family, that everyone gets affected if you get affected. So that is what a woman is. That's what mother means. It means that if you don't keep your balance, everybody else is going to fall apart. And that is the probably the rawest definition and the most powerful definition of who we are. And I give all of these stories because none of us are exempt from our people suffering. But even in the midst of suffering, I have noticed that, I put sort of a timeline on it. I am very funny in that way. I have great humor within what I do and how I do it. Okay, that miserable person did so and so, great, fine, that's it. You have what my mother used to say, okay, you have 5 minutes to complain and that's it. And at the end of 5 minutes, it didn't matter if I was in the middle of a suicidal story. She would say, okay, 5 minutes is up. And that taught me from a very young age that she was tolerant. I had two mothers. They were both incredibly tolerant. When one chided me, the other hugged me. It's nothing like having two mothers that balance out all the hurt. But the basic fact is that we have to know that the most precious energy of healing we carry within ourselves. And when we allow too much anger, too much sense of betrayal, too much yuck and yuck and dross to take over, we are paying from that healing energy. We are paying the price, nobody else.
I love that. That is powerful. I do want to ask if you could share quickly, what was it like being near the Dalai Lama?
Oh, he is magnificent. He's so magnificent. He saw me, and well, usually I was wearing orange at the time because I was at that point a Vedic monk. I did since step away from that strata of life. I was initiated as a Vedic monk, and we wear orange. And in the time I met him for the first time, it wasn't the first time actually. It was probably the second or third time that I met him. He was walking into the lobby. We were at the Parliament of the World Religions in Melbourne, Australia. And it's happening in this humongous hotels. And he's stepping in with, his followers and people around him. And I was just coming out of the same entrance as he was coming in. And he just left the group and walked over and took my hands. And, and he was another beautiful father, really. He just took my hands, put it to his forehead, and he said, Mother Maya, Buddha's mother. because Buddha's mother had the same name,
Oh,
mother. So I said, "Oh my goodness, um, Your Holiness, you remember?" He said, "How could I forget Mother Maya?" Anyway,
oh,
the fact is that was there, and he of course that was the most major featured speaker, and I was a featured speaker there too. So
oh,
we
man.
spent a lot of time talking about. He's very close to the Hindu tradition because of what of those members uh, of the Hindu monasteries that helped with his rescue when things became very difficult in Tibet for him. Yeah, he's a beautiful soul, and so like my own guru, Swami Dayananda, who trained me in all
Maya,
of the wisdom.
we have about 2 minutes left in the show. So please share your website and what last message you want to give to us today. I know it goes by so fast.
The time does go fast, Paula, and I think we've sort of got all the obvious, overt messages that we have been talking about throughout. But I think that perhaps the most wonderful message for all of us, men and women, is that we begin to trust who we are. We were built with such incredible construction of consciousness, and we need to take that back, and it never dies. So it's there, it's just sleeping and going through its own state of amnesia. But if you decide that you need to reclaim this consciousness as your own steering wheel of your own life, then it will awaken. And this is the time to do it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Um, do you have a website that
Yes, it is mayatiwari.com, and that's MAYATIWARI.com. And the organization's website, my organization, Wise Earth School of Ayurveda, it's wiseearth.com.
Oh, I love it.
And if you Google Maya Tiwari, you will find the podcast and many other things that may be of help.
Oh, Maya, I just thank you for all you're doing for others and the difference you're making. And oh my God, I am so happy to meet you, my energy sister.
I love being on your show, Paula, and I love your heart, and your light just beams.
Oh,
And thank you, an honor, truly an honor for me.
oh, big hugs and blessings, everyone. Big hugs and blessings. Thank you so much.